I did this when my girlfriend cheated on me because I was unable to purchase her a $3,000 Chanel purse. You read correctly. I was unable to purchase a $3,000 bag for my girlfriend, therefore she cheated on me. After dating for almost 2 years, I, 27M, discovered a woman I'll name Luna, 26F, making out with me in a Mercedes-Benz Cabriolet one day. I attended a workplace party a week ago, which is when this occurred. When my coworker and I went outdoors for some fresh air after a few drinks, we noticed something. A bright blue Cabriolet Mercedes. It was parked in front of a hotel 2 buildings away. We casually approached it to take in its splendor up close, assuming it was merely parked and nobody was inside. We saw that there was someone inside the car as we drew nearer to appreciate her beauty. The vehicle was trembling strangely. It was then that we noticed a couple making out inside of it. There, my colleague and I paused and erupted in laughter at the thought of upsetting someone in their personal space. I got chills from what I witnessed after we stood there smoking. After adjusting her hair and making fun of the man with it, a woman emerged from that car and they both went into the hotel, giving the valet the keys. That woman was Luna, my girlfriend, and she was flirting with the man in the Mercedes. My laughter changed to pain. My coworker, who knew Luna, was taken aback when she was seen entering a hotel hand in hand with a male. I had never seen the guy before, so I didn't know him. I am aware that I plunged right into the subject without providing any background. I work for an MNC as a sales executive. When I worked as a part-time cashier at a supermarket, Luna and I were co-workers. The store assistant was Luna. Nothing worked out at the time, but we became friends. I was too busy to start a romance while I was in college, nor did Luna ever express any interest in me. To provide for her family, Luna left college early. Since she was 19, she has worked 2 jobs, and I admire her commitment. We used to work at the same grocery, and I ran into her there a year ago. By that time, she had been elevated to floor supervisor. After 5 years apart, we reconnected and went out for coffee like old friends. She denied dating when I asked if she was seeing someone. She gave me a signal that suggested I was asking her out. I claimed I didn't mind taking her out because I was single. After exchanging phone numbers, we got out for drinks the next weekend. We gradually began dating, and we have been together for more than 2 years. I used to advise her to finish college during our relationship because her career advancement was being impeded by her lack of education. She claimed that because she had to take care of her parents, she was unable to afford a college education. At first, I felt sorry for her since she was giving up her job to support her family. Eventually, though, I found out that she was only giving her parents 25% of her earnings. She used to battle for her nighttime work in addition to her steady and reliable job at the supermarket. She aspired to work as a waiter and then a bartender. She gave everything a try. She was working 2 jobs, so I advised her to stop one and enroll in college while her family's and her own needs could be met by the money from the other job. She objected to the notion of returning to school. She said that the money she made from one job was insufficient to support her. I didn't press her further because I respected her decision. The problem is that I wanted her to finish college and find a steady day job. Her schedule was the largest obstacle to me getting married to her, and I was hoping to pop the question in a few months. I was serious about her, and I adored her. I made an effort to talk to her about my desire to wed and start a family with her within a year. I wanted her to focus on her job first because of this. Marriage and career are 2 different things, she shrugged, adding that she hoped to marry me within a year. But she enjoyed working as a hustler. She claimed that she was unable to accept a boring day job. That was dull, she thought. Her job-hopping activities somehow made her life more exciting. I'm not sure if there was a warning sign, but I obviously didn't see it. Luna used to spend all of her money on her lifestyle since she didn't think saving was a good idea. She was as interested in branded clothing, purses, and shoes as any other woman. Because of the way she conducted herself, someone who is unaware of Luna's occupation or history might believe that she comes from a wealthy family. I never thought of it as a problem, but I'm not sure how others would feel about it. I tried to encourage her to save money at first, but she said that since she was working so hard, she should be able to afford those things. In addition, She was paying for her pricey choices with her own money. She asked if she could live with me a year ago. She shared a home with a buddy who was relocating to a new city. Luna asked me if we could stay together because she couldn't afford the apartment's costs on her alone. Since I was likewise sincere about her, I was pleased that she was intensifying our relationship. I informed her that since I was already paying the rent and other household expenses on my own, she did not need to contribute. She can put that money aside for herself instead. I didn't give money much thought, excluding the cost of the food. When she moved in, nothing increased. Thus, I didn't mind putting up with it. I received a promotion at work 6 months ago. For me, it was an extremely proud moment. I had put a lot of effort into earning it. I took Luna out to a swanky restaurant for a candlelight meal to celebrate my accomplishment. She was thrilled to be able to enjoy the service at a prestigious establishment where she was typically the waiter or bartender. She kept telling me that I was upping her expectations because she was so happy. Like any man would do for his girlfriend turned wife, I wanted her to spoil her. I had no idea that I was making things worse for myself. Luna began quietly urging me to take her out occasionally after that dinner, which essentially meant each weekend. She wasn't asking for a typical McDonald's, Subway, or other restaurant. Every weekend, she recommended a more upscale location. I had tolerated her for the past few months, assuming she would eventually go on. However, she continued to eat out. One of her new habits appeared. It was also for presents. She began requesting presents from me. Her request was purely random and unrelated to any particular event, costly ones. On occasion, it was for a dress from Zara, the most recent iPhone models, and so forth. Last month was her birthday. In a lighthearted manner, I also inquired about her birthday present needs. Her wish list nearly made me choke. It was a $3,000 Chanel purse. I burst out laughing, assuming it's a joke. She was offended, though. She claimed that I was criticizing her decision. I assured her that I was not passing judgment on her. However, I genuinely believed it to be a joke. I can't even comprehend the idea of paying $3,000 for a purse. She rationalized her irrational demand rather than admitting it. She claimed that I ought to get her a nice present because I received a sizable raise following my promotion. In addition, over our 2 years of dating, I haven't given her any meaningful gifts. When she stated that, I was taken aback. I am aware that I didn't give her a costly present, but for the past year, I have been paying for every household bill. I was paying for lunch and dinner every time we went out before she moved in. Since she was making less money, I purposefully refused to let her pay. I didn't argue with her about this. However, she misled me about the circumstances to the point where I felt bad about not giving her what she needed. She claimed that $3,000 was only enough to cover my wage for 10 days. Individuals spend their entire salary each month on their girlfriend. I realized that $3K would be equivalent to a 10-day income, but I think that's worth spending. A bag that costs a lot of money is useless. I am aware that some people are completely enamored with these extravagant brands, 10K Gucci belts or 50K Nike sneakers. I apologize, but I don't think it's worth $1 to buy such disposable clothes. I informed her that I could offer her the money if she so desired, and that she would receive some vocational training to assist her do better work. I apologize if I sounded dull, but there was nothing more worthwhile with $3,000. She labeled me stingy while rolling her eyes. Despite her obvious anger toward me, she remained silent. After that, her attitude had undoubtedly altered. I assumed she was simply unhappy over the bag incident and would move on. I arrived home early on the eve of her birthday in order to prepare a surprise for her. I took a half-day off from work to purchase several outfits that she had been eyeing for a while, as well as flowers, candles, and cakes from Zara. I waited till midnight for her. She was arriving late after that fight, even though she typically returned before midnight. She didn't pick up when I called to ask when she would be back. About an hour later, she messaged me to let me know that she would be spending the night at a surprise birthday party that her coworkers had organized. Since I had also prepared for the surprise and spent the entire evening getting ready, I was completely let down. However, since she was unaware of my scheme, I couldn't hold her responsible. However, The fact that she spent her birthday night with her friends bothered me in some way. She had the opportunity to ask me to the party, but she chose not to. I fell asleep on the couch because I was so exhausted and upset. When Luna came home intoxicated from her party, I woke up. She was pleased to find that I had organized a home activity as well. She hugged me and said she was sorry for leaving me all night. I informed her that in order for us to spend the day together, I had taken the day off on her birthday. The plan didn't sit well with her. She said that since she hadn't taken a leave of absence, she had to report to work. She refused to call in ill to work when I advised her to. I had a lot planned and was eager to spend time with her, so I became pretty irritated about this. She disregarded my suggestion and proceeded with her usual routine of taking a shower, getting ready, and heading to work. Since it was her birthday, I was unable to argue with her, so I left her alone. As she was departing, I gave her a hug and begged if she might stay, but she refused to have a dull birthday day. Perplexed, I asked her what she meant. She expressed her desire to avoid spending her birthday sipping wine while lounging at home. Being gregarious, she wants to celebrate her birthday outside. I proposed that we take a day excursion nearby or visit a resort. "My workday sounds cooler than your plan," she replied. This made me impatient, so I let her leave. Her attitude completely irritated me, but I ignored it. Since Luna was an extrovert party animal, I decided that I should have planned something better. I should have prepared a birthday party or something, rather than just something for the two of us. I made an effort to lift her spirits over the next several days by promising that I will truly do something to make her happy on her next birthday. According to her, a trip to Hawaii is the ultimate way to satisfy her. I remained silent. I simply smiled and curved my lips. Speaking of such a standard from someone who has never traveled outside the state. In fact, I read it this time, and it is a warning sign. I began to pay close attention to her and knew that something was certainly wrong. Coincidentally, last week I witnessed her making out in that fancy automobile and then walking into a 5-star hotel with a male while all of this was going on, observing them enter. I couldn't resist rushing to follow them into the hotel. When I tried anything suspicious like this, my coworker stopped me and threatened to kick me out of the lobby. I must use caution and alertness. I wasn't in the mood to attend the party, but my colleague asked that we return to our office party. I simply waited for them to emerge while I stood in front of the hotel. My friend insisted that we depart after a time because they might be spending the night together. And we couldn't spend the entire night standing there. He then gave me a ride home. I couldn't breathe because I was so upset. I took up everything she owned and disposed of it outside the apartment. I have no idea when I went to sleep. Luna's loud, screeching voice awoke me and asked me about her packed belongings. I advised her to return to her wealthy lover, with whom she had been having sex the previous evening. She replied, "Oh, you are aware of it. Fantastic." I went crazy over it. I screamed at her, asking when all of this was happening. There was no use in being dramatic, she said. I was a miser and couldn't afford to buy her a Chanel purse, so she had to look for these wealthy men. Her eyes lacked regret and were icy. She packed her things and walked out. People going to such lengths for financial gain is so superficial and unreal. I am unsure of my next course of action, but I will not let that woman to pass me by. Update 1. Hello everyone. Over 6 months have passed since my initial post. Nothing needed upgrading, so I didn't make an update earlier. I am aware that I promised to exact revenge for the cheating when I ended my previous post. However, life overtook me, a couple weeks following my split. By coincidence, my firm sent me to Seattle for a month-long project, and that was really helpful. I was able to move on quickly because to the change of scenery. A month later, after I returned from my trip for work, although I won't claim to have forgotten her entirely, I did. I had come a long way. In order to prevent myself from seeing or learning about her, I blocked her on all social media sites a week prior. Luna arrived at my home. She had a dejected expression. My anger toward her had subsided, so I opened the door for her. I questioned her about it. The trip, she lost it. I'm sorry. She apologized for destroying our relationship for a few temporary presents. Since I had moved over my past, I begged her to do the same. She claimed that while everyone else was merely utilizing her body, I was the only one who had ever loved her. I informed her that since she received those pricey presents in exchange, she could not categorize other people as users. She claimed that since she has been working hard for the past 10 years, she doesn't need those ostentatious things, but rather a long-term companion. I was no longer her man, so I wished her luck in finding someone else. She begged me to give her another opportunity. She told me that she couldn't afford a place of her own and had been living on a friend's couch since she was broke. I informed her that her 2 jobs should be enough to support her on a basic level. She broke down once more and claimed that she had never worked 2 jobs. At the grocery store, she only had one. She told me she was going out for work over the 2 years we dated, so I was taken aback by the revelation. She claimed that she used to go out with her friends every night, make out with men at the bar, and trade presents and cash for them. That's what she meant, and I don't want to give it away. I was so stunned that I was hardly able to talk. She also mentioned that she would soon be in her 30s. As a result, she finds it difficult to balance her day job with her night work. Her goal is to get married and live a typical life. She begged me to accept her back and not pass judgment on her. She assured him that she would make a nice wife. It seemed unfair that she kept me in the dark for 2 years, but I reassured her that I wasn't passing judgment on her in any way. I will never forget that she cheated on me and lied to me. She sobbed, saying she was broke and in need of assistance while holding my hand. I made it very plain to her that I couldn't go back to her and that she should stop bothering me. Her admission made me think that the person I was dating was seeing other men every other day, and I was such an idiot for loving her for so long. I discussed this with my friend, who was with me when I seen Luna making out in that car, and he recommended that I get tested for sexually transmitted diseases because I had been with that woman for a long time while she was having affairs. There's a chance I could have contracted the infection. Since I didn't have any of these symptoms, I rejected the test. However, according to my buddy, the symptoms might occasionally take years to manifest. Therefore, being safe is preferable. I made a reservation for tomorrow's test. I'm hoping for a clean outcome. Update 2. Hi everyone. All of my STD reports were negative. I'm grateful. I met Luna or saw her at work today when I was walking by that grocery. I felt a strong impulse to go inside. I entered and was skulking around the food section when I was noticed by a longtime worker who was also my coworker from my previous job. He approached me and talked to me. He was aware of my relationship with Luna, so I asked him if she was still employed there since I couldn't see her. According to him, Luna was let go from her position 3 months ago. He stated he didn't know when I asked him why. I informed him of my split from Luna, and then he told the truth. He claimed that Luna had recently been seen on tape attempting to approach wealthy-looking male customers. For a long time, the security guards watched her, but they were powerless to intervene because nothing was caught on video. After her shift, she was frequently spotted driving away from the supermarket. However, she was discovered making out with a customer in the store's remote area 3 months ago. Because she was a longtime employee, she received a warning. However, a few days later, the same client showed up at the store and made a big deal out of the fact that Luna had stolen money from his wallet while spending the night at his house. She was fired this time because the management had to respond. I asked him if he thought she was shady because he had worked with her for so long. He claimed that because she was so regular around her friends and coworkers, he was startled to learn the reality. Nobody was aware of her grim existence. He claimed that no one wanted to recommend or recruit Luna because of how awful her reputation had become in their workplace. All she was doing was utilizing men to pay for her lifestyle. I'm posting this so that people will be cautious about who they date. I consider myself fortunate that it lasted only 2 years. I've read a lot of tales where the spouse spent years concealing who they really were, even after I got married. I'm glad I left before things became too serious. Before marrying someone, please do a background check or at the very least, spend enough time with them. Before you start dating someone seriously, get to know their parents and friends. I appreciate you listening to me. I was betrayed after a 4-year relationship. Here's some background information. My girlfriend, 24, and I, 24, have been together for over 4 years now. When we started dating, she was still healing from a really abusive relationship she had a year before. I supported her through that recovery. We grew very close, and I couldn't imagine her being unfaithful. In our relationship, we've discussed cheating multiple times. We both agree it doesn't solve anything and that communication is the key to resolving issues. I think she liked me because she never showed interest in other guys while we were together. Over the past year, she seemed to pull away a bit and began exploring interests that were unfamiliar to me, maybe even to her. She began going to clubs with her close friend, saying she wanted to dance. I told her that kind of fun isn't for me, and I didn't want to go just to be her bodyguard. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured she or her friend could deal with any guys who might flirt with her. After a few weeks, while we were checking something on her phone, she got a message from someone named Chris, I think. I changed the name for privacy reasons. I found the "I think" part strange, so I asked her about it. A random guy told her she looked nice and asked for her number, which she gave him. She said it was because she was drunk. That's when I began to feel suspicious about her. I asked her about it because I believed she was only there to dance with her friend. It was naive, but that's how much I trusted her at the time. It ended in a big argument where she said I was too jealous and controlling about it. I argued that when she gets drunk, she loses her ability to make choices. Neither she nor her friend would act differently if a couple of guys got them drunk or drugged them and took them away. We managed to get past that fight over the next few months, but I could still sense some lingering resentment from her about it. She began to claim that I was judging her whenever she shared something more personal. I began secretly checking her messages during this time. She kept chatting with that guy, but it wasn't a big deal, mostly just casual conversation from him every few weeks. A few days ago, I hadn't checked her messages in a while. I believed the relationship was going well. I was putting in time and effort consistently. She appeared a bit distant, but she said she was just stressed and tired from her university classes and work. I think I'm stressed and tired from it too, but I guess everyone handles things differently. I decided one night, while she was asleep, to check her messages to see what was going on. Recently, I had a conversation with that Chris guy from the night before when I thought she had gone to bed early. At 3 a.m., she sent him pictures of herself at the club, claiming she was drunk. I was really angry, but I kept it to myself at that time. I began searching for different chats. It was right there. A random guy with a weird name that I can't recall. Their conversation felt somewhat personal, not explicit, but close enough. I started the conversation with him. 3 months ago, he got her number after they met on the street. A few days later, she suddenly told him not to mention what was happening in bed to anyone. That was the moment I lost it. I woke her up and asked if she would tell me if she cheated. She agreed, naturally. After a brief pause, she inquired about the location of her phone. I gave it to her, and she left the room by herself. She explained to me what happened. That night, she got really drunk with her friend at her place. She felt sad during that time about our relationship. She thought she couldn't talk to me and believed I didn't give her enough time, even though I always tried to make time for her whenever I could. If she had let me know how tough it was for her, I would have done even more to help. She took a walk by herself that night and sent a text to that guy. She went to his place, kissed him, hugged him, and fell asleep in his arms, or so she said. She is now trying hard to get back with me, claiming she loves me and that it won't happen again. She plans to seek therapy and focus on improving our relationship, mending what is broken. I want to trust her, but my heart is still hurting. I'm not sure I can keep this relationship going, especially since we were getting ready to live together and talk about marriage, while she was keeping this from me. What are my options? Is what she did really that bad that she doesn't deserve a second chance? Should I set aside my pride and take her back? Thank you all for your advice and support. I have chosen to end all ties with her because I don't want to live in fear and carry this trauma with me. I really hope things start to get better from now on.